rapper will remain in jail after turning himself in. YFN Lucci, whose real name is Rayshawn Bennett, faces murder and assault charges. It's in connection to the shooting death of James Adams on People Street in December. Today, a Fulton County judge denied him bond, and Atlanta police say he is one of 3 suspects involved.
Atlanta for us this morning. And Joe, YFN Lucci is the big name here. Walk us through the allegations.
Oh yeah, known among several radio stations, DJs, concert goers around the Atlanta area. Rayshawn Bennett, who goes by the stage name YFN Lucci, was out on bond in connection with the shooting death of a man here in Atlanta back in December, and now he will be ordered back to jail as part of the gang sting. The GBI formed a gang task force in 2019 focused on prosecuting gang members under state anti-gang laws. So that actually helped the Fulton County District Attorney's Office land this indictment. 75 pages, 105 counts in total, all against 12 men allegedly associated with the Bloods gang in Atlanta and Miami. The indictment shows organized criminal activity dating back to 2010. Rayshawn Bennett's name comes up in February of 2020 when he appears to throw up gang signs and use certain lyrics in a music video called Shine On.
She did a RICO indictment, and this is something that is unusual. The indictment ranges from murder all the way down to possession of a firearm by a convicted felon.
As of 2019, the GBI reported 70,000.
Defendant will remain in a no bond status at this time. Additionally, this court revokes any bonds previously issued in this case.
Ms. Willis says Lucci had been out on a $500,000 bond for felony murder and other charges before the racketeering indictment, the same felony murder that forms the backbone of the racketeering case against him, in which Lucci, a gang associate, allegedly drove his new Maybach luxury SUV, and 2 alleged gang members who were passengers opened fire in rival gang territory, including James Adams.
There are individuals outside gathered at the back of a car, playing chess, holding a baby.
And Adams was killed in a gun battle that developed. Then, a short distance from the scene, was dumped from the Maybach. So Drew Findling says YFN Lucci is innocent of all charges and not a gang associate.
Based on what myself, Mr. Banks, Ms. Goldberg, and Mr. Dixon saw, there's no evidence that they were the first people shooting, rather the antithesis.
D.A. Willis says Lucci repeatedly violated the conditions of his bond when he was on bond for the felony murder and before he surrendered on the racketeering indictment.
We're working this case so hard because, as you know, I have taken a very strong stance against gangs. It's causing a great deal of violence in our community.
Now, if you're wondering what felony murder is, Lucci lawyer Findling has told us felony murder occurs when someone unintentionally causes a death in the commission of a felony. He maintained Lucci was not committing a felony.
Oh, yo, it's Big Ant, the spokesman, man. We back. Another edition of Urban Politicians TV, UPTV. Make sure you stay on your pivot at all times, man. Had to come tap in, and first and foremost, I want to send condolences to the entire family of James Adams. I don't know what's all the way factual and what actually went down with the storyline of how he lost his life. The stuff is still getting settled and put out through reports and everything. But one thing that is factual is that brother is no longer here with us, and he has family, loved ones, and close friends who are still grieving that loss. So I most definitely want to send condolences and prayers to all of them first. And now, I'm going to have links in the description from 11 Alive out of Atlanta and WSB TV. And I put those clips that'll show a little bit of storyline of what we got to where we are today with the YFN Lucci State RICO case in Fulton County, Atlanta, Georgia. Now, we first seen where it happened that he had got arrested for the role in this alleged murder that he pled not guilty to and everything. Then a little bit after that, he got picked up with the RICO charges, and that murder was put into that also. Funny Willis was, the DA on that situation. Same thing with YSL. Well, it's been 2 years now, but it's been a bunch of events going on with YFN Lucci that have made the headlines and news. We seen a situation where he actually got denied bond again. They wasn't gonna let him out. Then we see where he was stabbed in jail. Then we seen where it came out that he was called to be a witness in Young Thug's trial, in the YSL trial, and he declined and said, no, I will not come out and speak on it. Well, the other day it hit the internet that he'd been offered a plea deal of 20 years to serve 17, and they would agree to drop the murder charge that they have of him to a lesser situation and call it manslaughter. Now, this is a whole true gang, a whole full gang indictment that he's actually involved in himself that he has to face charges on. So they put that out the other day that he was actually offered this to take the plea deal, and his lawyers came out and spoken now and said that they've decided to reject it. His lawyer came out and spoke now and said that they've rejected it and they will go to trial. And the write-up says this. This is coming from TMZ. YFN Lucci is rejecting a plea deal Georgia prosecutors offered him in his racketeering case. We've learned Lucci's instead opting to go to trial to clear his name. According to court docs obtained by TMZ I guess they mean hip-hop, Fulton County DA Fonnie Willis recommended a 20-year sentence, 17 of them in prison. In exchange, Lucci would have to plead guilty to multiple charges, including felony murder, racketeering, aggravated assault, and violation of a street gang terrorism and prevention act. Lucci, whose real name is Rayshawn Bennett, is not interested in the offer. His attorneys, Drew Filing and Gabe Banks, tell us the plea offer is absurd, and they strongly hinted the DA is intentionally dragging her feet. They point out Lucci is still waiting to go to trial after 2.5 years in custody. The attorneys also slammed Willis for focusing instead on new, higher profile cases that have completely monopolized the court's resources, and pointed out her utter inability to prosecute complex cases. And I'm gonna tell y'all that's a reference to what's going on with YSL. They went on to say, despite the obstacles consistently placed in the way of Mr. Bennett's constitutional right to a spare and speedy trial, we continue to be ready and prepared to defend these false allegations. And you heard them break down that felony murder situation in there on the paperwork that hit the internet. It was more so saying take the manslaughter situation, and it's the wording of these laws and how they charge you, whether murder or felony murder, this type of murder and everything. But they were gonna let him sign for 20. I would expect most people to reject that deal, and niggas is gonna do that if you got the bag to fight the case, or if you know you didn't do nothing. That's just how I go. I always say innocent until proven guilty with these charges, and it is still a roller coaster ride going on, and we shall see what happens with it. But I always say, I don't know what's going on with this situation. Is the facts, they will come out. We've seen these situations go down in real life though. Well, now you gotta fight for your life. You gotta fight for your freedom. You locked up for 2.5 years. You got kids and family that love you. You got people that want to see you at the highest. I tell niggas all the time, I understand self-defense. I understand getting out here trying to get you some paper and live. But are you really ready to go sit down and do all this time and do life in prison, or 40, 50, 60 years if you blow trial? Not speaking on this case, I'm just speaking in general because we've seen it. And most of the time, after niggas got a lot of time in there, why did I give my time to this system? Why did we let it get this far? We could have stopped it before it got this far. We could have communicated. That's all I want to tell my people, because I don't get enjoyment out of seeing a nigga that look like me, talk like me, walk like me, act like me, come from where I come from. We kings amongst kings. We men. Let's talk like kings and men and get to the point where, nigga, I ain't gonna look at your life as less valuable as mine. We can talk about it and squash it and move on. You go your way, I go my way. Anything better than us being dead in that grave or in that cell, that cage. Keep us in a bed of a metal cot put on the wall. That ain't for our kings. That ain't for our brethren. We better than that. But tell me what y'all think. We got more coming, more videos, all that. 1000 for Shit Show. Stay on your pivot.